All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to NEWSBEAT Live. Okay, finally. So exhausted today after those 3 days. I've been talking so much. It's quite funny because during the trading day, it's my goal to use as few words as possible in the broadcast and just focus more on trades and ideas. But look, at the same time, if I didn't say a word and everybody came in and they're confused, they don't know what's going on, they're just not going to sign up. So I wanted to thank the original members of the room who sustained that sort of broadcast for the past few days, but it's back to business as usual now, coming in tomorrow and for the ideas ahead. A lot of interesting things happened after hours today. Nike exploded to the upside, and you could just see here, like this is the real time up here, 57.45 on Nike, and you could see it's gapped up well over $4 at the moment. So very big move there in Nike. Micron was, guess what Micron is? Potential strangle opportunity. It's on a Friday and it's opening up flat. Would love to, if we could open like near 30, if we could open where it is right now at 31 and a half, that might be a home run strangle idea in the morning. So, yeah, and please understand what Peter said. I know. Please understand what Peter said. I talked more in the last 3 days than I did in the last 8 months. That's about accurate. Wouldn't surprise me if that actually is accurate. Like, he's not even exaggerating. There was so much, I haven't been promoted in for, it was the first time this year. I think T3 is finally understanding the benefit of producing a room that has a real profitable trader. And, people who are in the trenches with you guys on a daily basis. And I understand nobody is going to gobble up every single product they see. Like one of the feedback things I got, and everything's anonymous. I don't see the person's name, but we do watch the feedback and try, for constructive criticisms. And I would say the worst things that are said was, some people were like, the market is having a big down move. Why is it marked, in a bunch of shorts? And I think it goes back that traders who think that way, are still in the wrong mindset. The feeling that you need to catch every single down move. The truth is, it was an extremely rough 3 days for the majority of traders. If you made money, great. But basically what happened on these 3 days, and just delete some of these Q's lines here, is I didn't want any red days because I wanted to hit a home run on these 3 days, but I can't predict the market. So we plummeted hard. We had the second largest, third largest down day this year on Tuesday. We broke down on Wednesday early on and then popped all the way back up and closed near the highs. Then we gapped down today with volume and just plummeted, yet bounced well off the lows. So, yeah, this was a little funky. I had a much easier time predicting the down move right there last Wednesday when we predicted it correctly. So I think trying to stay out of trouble is one of the smarter things you can do. You don't have to feel like, you have to be part of, and I said this before, and I know I've caught, I made 5 figures on one of the bear days. I get it, like I have been part of it in the past. But, you should never feel like you see this market and you say, oh my God, I should have been short things. I mean, that's easy to say. Yes. It's like, yes, Captain Obvious. We understand that. But what I'm trying to offer here is discipline and how to make intelligent trades and intelligent entries. And I see some of the things you guys do, and a lot of times I agree, a lot of times I don't. Whether you win or lose. Like, Peter, you bought IBB today? I 100% agree with what you did. I thought you attacked it as intelligently as possible. Whether your trade works or not, I don't know. Could IBB go down tomorrow? Sure. I think if you did that trade 10 times in a row, you would make more money at the end than you would lose. So there are a lot of intelligent trades that I feel are intelligent. A lot of trades I feel are stupid. And I tell traders this all the time, that one of the silliest things you can do is make money off a stupid idea. And they're like, why is that worse than losing money off a stupid idea? They ask me, and I simply respond to them, because now you're enforcing in your head that doing something wrong, triggered a pleasure zone in your brain, and you want that feeling again. And when you do it next time, it may or may not work, but in the long run, you're going to lose money off it. So that is a very important aspect of trading. When I was buying long today, I was giving the market every single chance in the world to break out. Now, yeah, I was long today because the news I liked happened to be bullish news on bullish names. On days like today, I could have taken the same size positions and make $2,000-$3,000 instead of the $500-$600 I made. But when I bought these things, I looked at the market and I said, okay, should I hold it here? If the market bounces up, I'll hold it. If not, I'll dump it. And that's how I really approached a lot of these ideas. And if that was the strategy yesterday, it would have worked a lot more effectively. If I had names like this on a day like yesterday, where we broke down first and then rallied to highs. And I tell people this all the time, like, I'm pretty good at predicting a high chance of a down day. But what I like to do in those situations is, if I have a few bearish names on my list, a few downgrades, I'll open up shorts and I'll ride them. So even like, for example, looking at the game plan, I had one short idea. Mondelez. Worked pretty well. Big red bar. Easy to say that a name worked well today off a down move, right? But we had a lot of the bullish calls too that worked too. We had CBI long, for example. And CBI long is a phenomenal triangle setup. Look at that. Are you guys in love? Look at that in Chicago Bridge and Iron. You know what that is? There are people now who have been beating this stock up for a while. And this might be ready to make a comeback. So there are some traders here who, like the technical analysis and trading futures and trying to get a good risk reward based on technical levels, and I respect that. But the service here of the NEWSBEAT is, I have to remain disciplined in what I do. By remaining disciplined in what I do, I am able to, I'm able to have days like, where I'm making 5 figures. I'm able to have 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 days like last week. I'm able to do that. Why? Because I remain true to myself and true to my words. And yeah, if you approach the market from the perspective that you're only trying to take something that can potentially work, you're going to do better in the long run. People, you know how many people, I would say 99% of traders don't have a game plan. Or they have a game plan on what they want to do and they break it every other day and they don't follow it. It happens all the time. And I told you guys every time, I never get caught in that position where I'm like, oh my God, I feel so stupid. If I shorted the market today and we had a day like yesterday, for example, if I went like short across the board and just random non-news names, which would have worked beautifully. And I'm not saying it's a bad strategy, but I am saying this. If I did that and the market ripped up like it did yesterday, I would have felt so stupid. I would have been like, Mark, what are you doing? You didn't follow your discipline. You didn't follow any of these news names. I don't say that anymore. You have to realize how powerful that is to look at a trade, any trade you're in, and say, I didn't do something stupid here, whether I win or lose. I would do this same trade again every single time it presented itself. And if you could comfortably say that, you're onto something. So that was one of the feedbacks. Again, and I respect the feedback, and I'm sharing the I guess if you want to consider them negative feedback. One of the this is a good one. I have to say, and this person joined the room, and I respect it, and I don't know who it is, but I respect the people writing, and it's anonymous. But I would like to have a chance to answer. And then there's another one saying Mark has talked 98% of the week, taken nearly no trades, and fought the trend all day during a large sell-off. Haha, I guess his style really requires news flow. I will spend my $95 to see how July goes. Haha. I realize he's pitching the room hard, but trading is the best pitch. All good. So that's from a person who did sign up, said I was talking 98% of the time, says he's still going to try it. He understands I'm pitching, and says that making money or trading is the best pitch. And you know what I said? I agree with you 110%. I said I agree with that 110%. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm going to be talking 98, 99% less. I do agree that trading is the best pitch. But when you're narrowed in a 3-day period and people don't know what's going on, had I not been talking all the time and explaining things, people would have just left. They would have been like, I don't understand what's going on. He's silent for long periods of time. I'm out. That's how people would react. And they wouldn't care that they got 1 or 2 or 3 winning trades in the room that they paid for easily a month subscription, 2 months, 3 months without a home run play. They don't think like that, some people. So that was actually my favorite criticism because I actually happen to agree with it. And the good news is, for the person who wrote that, you're in luck because I don't talk a lot. I don't during the day. You guys know it. I'll go silent for half an hour. I'll go silent for an hour. You'll be like, where did Mark go? Looking up news plays, news ideas, looking up something good coming in through the news wires, and a lot of times there's nothing. And then all of a sudden, out of left field, I have Gilead, bang, and all of a sudden somebody makes $250,000, somebody makes over 100,000, somebody makes 60,000, somebody makes 20,000, and that's just how trading goes. Consistency never, ever, and will never, ever mean making approximately a certain amount every day. You can't make $500 every day. You can't do it. It's impossible. You can't make $500 and win 4 out of 5 days, and when you're wrong, lose $500. People don't understand how badly what that does to your average. I mean, if you want to make $500 every day, and I explained it before, and all of a sudden, you made $500, let's say every single day you make $500, you average $500. But let's say you make $500 4 out of 5 days, and then when you're wrong, you lose $500. That's a $300 average. Because you had one day where you lost $500, as opposed to making it, that literally dropped your percentage of your goal by 40%. Do you realize that? Like, that's how the math works. You literally dropped the money you made by 40. Your goal has been cut by 40% for having an average of 4 up days and 1 down day of the same amount. So that's why when I explain to people if you're going to make $500 a day on average, you're going to have days where you make 10 to 20 times that number, and that's what's going to get you that average. In this room, I would say, I'd be shocked if anyone disagreed. Like, if you're going to hit a home run play, it's going to be in this room. If it does happen, it'll happen here. A lot of people know that. So, thank you for your constructive criticisms. And back to business tomorrow. And thank you for the room for enduring a very talkative broadcast. Okay. So, I'm going to go into my place and then I'm answering every one of the questions you guys asked. Well, look, you say someone always knows something. You're right. Somebody does know that about Kara, and it was probably public information, and they heard about it a little bit earlier, and they acted upon it, and they hit a home run because they shorted the crap out of it. So we get things that we know something too, right? Did we know something in Guild before everyone else? Ask yourself that question. Did we? There's always somebody who knows something. That is how people make money, real money, in the market. You think any of these investment firms are intelligent? They're a bunch of knuckleheads, you know, they're scratching themselves, sitting behind a computer just bullshitting with each other. Those are the people making 50 to 100 million. You think they're like all-star technical analysts? They understand the fundamentals and did their due diligence? No. Somebody who understands that Kara is going to look bad and the news is probably going to come out later across the wires, reacted to Kara, bought a ton of puts, and I can't even imagine how much that person is going to be up tomorrow. Millions, $1 million at least. So think about that for a moment of how these traders are really making money. And nobody ever talks about that when you learn how to trade, that's how the best traders make money. Because if they told you that, you would get turned off and you wouldn't want to trade potentially. You would say, this is too hard. There's a person with less talent and skill than you making millions and millions of dollars right now trading. I talk to those people every day. Not to make fun of any of them, but just being honest. What you get here in this room is sometimes a little taste of that. So let's go ahead and look over some of the bullish dojis. And I want to thank the people that signed up. And if you're not signing up by now, I believe you're foolish. I believe you're doing yourself a disservice. But thank you anyway for at least taking the trial. Just looking for some dojis right now. MBRX. So they combine this product into one. So how did you guys like Sheila? Are you interested in trading small caps? Is it worth it for me to pay for Sheila's subscription to the room? Whether she joins or not, I don't know if she joined or not. I've known her for 10 years. But she's good at what she does. And she shares her trades. Yeah. Some people get down a little when they realize that news is just really disclosure. Timing of disclosure makes the majority of money. So like even even Ackman, when they're messing around with like allergen and whatnot, they're buying millions of calls and millions of shares, and then they announce, oh, by the way, we're getting the company bought out. It's like it's like, oh, nice trade. How much you make? Oh, a little over $1 billion. Okay, nice trade, man. But that's what it comes down to. I mean, I laugh about it because it's funny, but that's how the largest amount of money is made. XPO looks good. Somebody was talking about it earlier. I'm going to mention this as a bullish doji. That's a nice formation. That was you. Now I'm mentioning it bullishly. It's a bullish doji. Very nice setup. Okay, let's look at some of the bearish dojis. Again, I'm just going in and looking up setups that I feel are bearish and bullish. And in the morning, I might or might not trade any of these. If I get a name that has news generally, if I get some news on one of the names I'm watching now, it tends to add conviction. H&R Block was an interesting one. Vornado, Maxwell, OZM. Okay, no bearish dojis that I'm crazy about at the moment. Okay. And again, I'm going to answer everyone's questions when I'm done here, but I see Barbara's question, so I'm just going to answer it. Don't worry, I'm going to answer everyone's question before. When I have a medium or high conviction trade, do you tell the room the strike and date of the options that you buy? There's two answers for this. The answer is no, I don't. And the good part about my answer is you'll always know what I'm buying. So for example, Barbara, like Apple right now is 143.68. If I tell you guys, I'm buying Apple here, medium conviction. The fact that I didn't mention stock or options means I'm buying options. Not only that, I'm buying the first option call out of the money. So automatically, Barbara, you know I'm buying the $144 calls because the stock's at 143.68. Not only that, I'm buying the lowest time frame, so I'm obviously buying the options that expire tomorrow unless otherwise noted. So for example, tomorrow, let's say Apple opens up where it closed right now at 143.68, and I say, hey guys, I am buying Apple medium conviction. You'll automatically know based on what I said that I'm buying options. I'm buying the 144 calls, and they are the ones that expire with the lowest amount of time value. So you'll always automatically know what I'm targeting. Now you might ask why? Why do I do it like that? Why wouldn't I just make it easy and explain it? Because if I say, hey guys, I'm buying Apple medium conviction, people can react right away. If I say, hey guys, I'm buying the Apple $144 calls right here that are expiring this week with medium conviction, you might react 5 seconds later, 6 seconds later, 7 seconds later. So as a favor to you guys, I literally made it so simple to understand what I'm doing. and I'm able to disclose it to you guys in lightning time. So when I bought Guild, I didn't say medium conviction, but everybody knew that that's what it was. I said, hey guys, I'm buying 1,000 Guild calls here. And they automatically knew what strike I was buying, what expiration I was buying, because they always look for the first one out of the money and with the lowest time frame. So they knew I was buying the 64.5 weeklies when the stock was like 64.10. And that's how you know which ones I'm doing on medium conviction. On low conviction trades, I'll spell it out. What does that mean? So the intraday stock trend. Oh my goodness! Don't worry, don't worry about the price. I tell you guys that all. I mean, you guys are new people signing up here, so welcome. And of course not, Chris. I mean, you definitely I would try the stock. If I'm buying calls and my calls go up and work, you could buy the stock and the stock will work. I mean, both aspects will work. A lot of times I'll take, 10, 20,000 shares on top of what I do as well. But what I've been doing, and again, you guys are going to believe me when I tell you I leave the juice for you guys. When I'm buying 1,000 calls at Gilead, I have no doubt in the world that my trade is going to work. I am as close as you can be to 100% sure my trade's going to work. And I have the buying power, so why wouldn't I flash in 50, 60,000 shares and scalp out, 50 cents a dollar higher? Why wouldn't I do that on top of my calls? You want to know the answer? Because I am leaving juice for you guys to make money. And if you guys make money, you're going to be happy. You're going to bring good trade ideas to the table eventually. You're going to grow as a trader, and I'm going to make more money off of that. So what am I actually doing? I'm investing in you, in the room, in the long run. I know when I bought 1,000 calls at Guild, instead of just pressing my microphone on button, I could have just went to a different strike and buy another 1,000 calls. You don't think, if I wanted on Guild, I could have made 6 figures with selling early. I mean, not even being stubborn. I could have gobbled up every single share. I could have gobbled up every single one of the near-term options. I could have been in 3,000, 4,000 of them. I could have done that. It's easy, phenomenally quick I am on a keyboard. I could have done that in a blink of an eye. But I don't. You know why? Because why the hell would I do that? Call it out to the room, have you guys see the price appreciated so much and get in so much later than me. Now, granted, in Guild it would have worked. But that's not what it was about. It was about being a team, sharing, looking after one another. These are very important aspects in trading. I would rather make 40,000 in a Guild, give you guys the early heads up, have a bunch of you guys hit home runs as well, than make 100,000 in Guild, give you guys much worse prices, and who knows how you would have reacted by that point, even if it did work out in your favor like it did. And a lot of people have such a hard time grasping that, to understand, why would he do it, just to be a good person or whatever? No, because we're a community and we look out for each other. And a lot of people, to this day, some people will hear it and they'll just be like, you're full of shit. There's no way. And then the people who are buying Gilead at 64.10, 64.12 before anything goes up, they understand that I'm never, ever trying to, screw someone over, not look out for their best interests, and that's how trust is formed. And when trust is formed, people share trades, and when people share trades, everyone makes more money in the long run, myself included. That's all it is. Investment into the future. I know, funny, right? In Judaism, they call that doing a mitzvah, where you're doing something good for someone else out of the goodness of your heart. That's the name for it. And for me, I'm not religious by any stretch of the imagination. But I do believe in the moral values, the positive moral values about any religion. I'm all for helping, charity, looking out after one another. Otherwise, you're just in a dry, cold world and nothing means anything. And I believe in karma. I believe that bringing home run ideas to you guys in the long run will bring, something bigger back to me at the end of the day in a positive way. Now, you could tell me I'm, crazy or nuts or just a nice guy, but I'm not running this broadcast to make money off you. Like I told you guys before, like literally, and I love this statistic. It's less than 1/10 of 1% of my income comes from working my ass off in this room every day. So why do I do it again? Community. Just looking up trades while I'm giving my spiel here. FSC was such a nice name. My goodness, have to watch this. That was a buyout, right? FSC, yeah. Capital One Financial, next ID. Next ID trigger is 315. I know it's a crapper name, but I'm mentioning it because it's just that nice. Bullish breakout. Bullish trigger. And I'll let you guys, watching and screenshot it as well at the end of the day. And I think you guys have access to see it on the site. If you signed up, you should have access to what I'm doing here. Cabela's. Wow. It's in the gap fill to 61 bucks. $60 trigger in Cabela's. They pulled it down a little after hours. I'm still going to talk it bullish here tomorrow. Like the setup. And again, sometimes Cabela's will just digest after this and I simply won't trade it. Truth is, I probably would have told you I didn't like this wedge formation when it broke up today. And it did. You guys asked me about it before. I will be wrong. EZPW. Does it bounce first and then we short it? Probably. Trivago. You guys still holding that Trivago? Kathy was talking about it before when it IPO'd and a lot of you guys watched it. Alright. Not a lot of names. Zion Energy pulled in. I mean, this is literally what I have today. Again, no bearish setups. I guess I had one yesterday, but I only have 4 names that I like today. So, if anybody has any technical analysis or any questions, now would be the time to ask. I'm going to scroll up so you don't have to repeat anything you asked. Yeah, it's been a while for the strangle. Chris, you like when the market is down and finds a stock up. When the SPY bounces a bit, the stock rips. That's always fun. Yeah. You called it in Cara. For me, I was I was pretty much bullish right here into Monday, Kathy. And then we put in the bullish doji on Tuesday, and I was bullish going into Wednesday. Wednesday was weird. We broke down, and then we broke up, and we closed slightly higher. And then I said I'm going to ignore it for today. It pulled down a little. And negative news after hours, 7 points. You called it. I'll give you that. The IBB, I love the falling wedge. Please hold above 310.36 tomorrow. $310.36. I'd like to see that. Chris, could we chime you if you go silent to ask something or mention an idea? I'm not sure how you would chime me, but please by all means. And just so you guys know, like on the news flow, a lot of times I'm on phones with desk traders, money managers, and they're shooting ideas to me. I mean, they're pitching me. Literally, they're talking about a stock, asking me if I like it. And, I'm usually telling them no. That's why they like me. It's funny. You tell these people no, and you automatically earn their respect. They'll come to you with like this big trade idea, and this. And then they'll be like, what do you think? And I'll say, I don't like it. And I'll start to throw them back. They'll be like, hey, why do you like my idea? My idea is the best. But that's how you earn people's respect. You tell them no. But sometimes I tell them no, their trade doesn't work. And sometimes I tell them no, their trades works. But when I tell them yes, their trades almost always work. When I tell them yes, their trades almost always work. And that's how I built a reputation for myself. So I'll say no to things that work and don't work. But when I say yes, that's the percentage that I'm usually right on. That's where I have a high percentage win rate. When I say yes, this setup looks good. So a lot of times, it could be like 12 o'clock. You don't hear me talking. I'm on the phone with a money manager trying to find the next idea for us to hit a home run on. And that's how you cultivate relationships. And that's the side of Wall Street that most people don't see. But yeah, if you can chime me, you can chime me all you want. The bottom level in Sky. It actually didn't hit. Unless I called it intraday. Oh, you mean like, what, did I give you like a break of 39.27? I mean, the true support was over here and it didn't hit today. Tomorrow that level will be 38.96. No, I'm not paying for Sheila. I was half joking, Kathy. I was half joking on that. Half joking meaning I want her to join, but I'm not paying for her. Gotcha. Mark, we do this every evening at 7:30. Sunday through Monday, D2. We don't do it on Friday because Friday is for Monday. So we actually are here Sunday night doing it as well. So it's 5 days a week, Sunday through Thursday. Bank of America is bullish doji. I don't know. Hard to say. It was by far the most bullish sector today. The news is what, really took you off. And I know, like in hindsight, you were looking at a recent bottom and you made a great call. And actually, on this idea, technically, I wasn't for it. At this point, you're bullish because you're more bullish than bearish. I don't know if you pull back here. If you pull back, it's probably a buying opportunity. You're above all the moving averages now. You're above resistance. You had high volume today comparatively. I mean, all the banks broke out. I don't know if I'd approach it as a bullish doji sandwich. I would just approach it as bullish. All right, I answered Barbara. I hope you understood that, Barbara. So if I say medium, if I say, for example, Bank of America opens here tomorrow and I'm like, guys, I'm buying Bank of America medium conviction, I'm buying the 24.5 weekly calls that are expiring tomorrow. Like, you guys know that right away. Always look for the first strike out of the money Lowest amount of time value. That's what I'm in. And I do it for to get you guys speed. Yeah, Sears. Somebody said that their intrinsic value is $90 a share, and I almost peed in my pants when they said that. But yeah, it's been slowly grinding up. That's okay. I do my absolute best, Reinhold, to make it as easy as possible. And I'm always open to ideas of how to make it easier. If you have any good recommendations for me, I'll do whatever I can to offer as much transparency and better timing as possible. Yeah, XLK looks like it's breaking down. Technology ETF. Hi, Teresa. You haven't done options before and has a very, very basic idea of the concept. Will you be able to understand and follow your trades? I think you'll be able to easily understand and follow my trades. I don't think somebody who hasn't done options before should jump in hardcore into options. I think you should start out light. Anytime I buy something with medium conviction, I generally am not touching the common stock, which tends to have volatility soon after I buy it. So you could still trade stock on the ideas I'm trading options and vice versa. Like you could trade options on the stock on the ideas that I'm trading shares on. The way I use options is just as a tool to call long or short. That's all it is. So, I use very basic options as well, Teresa. I would start very light initially, see how you feel with it, maybe do one option contract at a time, and get a hang of it. And there you go, and there's free videos on the internet. Here's Barbara. Do I always tell the room when I take profits? Not always. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. For example, if I'm in 1,000 option contracts and I sell 100, I sell 10% of my position. Me calling that out, I don't really feel adds much value to what you're doing. If I threw away the whole position, I'm like, all right, guys, I'm out of this thing. But everybody is different. Some people believe in piecing out slowly. Some people believe in holding. When I call out all my sells, it tends to ruin the conviction of the room. There are times I throw away my whole position and someone's still holding, making more money than I am. So I always put a focus in where, how much money are you happy with? If you're up money on a trade, if you're happy with the money, take it. If you're not, manage it. But, when I believe calling out entries and timing on the entries is by far the most important aspect in trading. Sometimes, traders will make more or less than me. Sometimes I'll call it when I'm out of the entire position or most of it. But if I go from 100% of my position down to 90%, it doesn't really help you by saying that, or even down to 20%. So if I'm down to if I sold 20%, if I'm down to 20% of my position, so I'll call that out usually. Very high open interest in July 60. Thank you. Hey Josh, you watch Scott Redler's broadcast daily. Would like to hear my thoughts on tier systems or scaling in and out of trades and how I typically manage that. You see, I think tier systems are bullshit. And what do I mean by that? Well, you could call something tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. But generally, how that usually works, when people refer to tier systems, they usually refer to a forward tier strategy, meaning let's say they bought a stock with a tier 1, and then the stock goes up higher in their favor, and then they add more with tier 2, and then the stock goes higher in their favor, and then they add more with tier 3, and they buy even higher. Then the stock heads higher in their favor again, and then they buy tier 4. And then the stock gets higher even again as they're chasing their own stock up and up and up, and it just keeps going up, and they make a ton of money. That doesn't work. Not from what I've seen. Not from what I've seen. And then there's traders who do reverse tier, where, all right, stock pulls back, I bought 500 shares. This stupid stock went against me. I'm going to buy another 1,000 to get my money back. Went down again. I'm going to buy 2,000 shares here. And by the time you're done putzing around, you're just sitting there looking at your P&L down, and you're saying, oh God, why did I do this? Why did I get in this position? So when it comes to tiering, it should only be based on if you know what your conviction is, period. I mean, what justifies you taking heavy or small? 99% of traders cannot answer that question. 99% of traders do not know when they should be heavier or lighter. They don't. They don't know which one of their ideas warrants more size. They think they do, but it never works out in the long run for them. My benefit is my conviction in tier size is based on where the news flow is coming from. There are news guys out there, when they open their mouth, I shut up and I don't do anything until they're finished speaking. And I'm like, oh God, if this person's saying something, it's going to work. Then there's another news guy, if they say something, I might ignore it. Or I might take it. I'll think about it. So what I'm actually doing is I created a tier system that is based on the news flow. Anything we're looking at in the morning, unless I get an additional piece of news flow that completely confirms it, will be a light trade. Anything that you could see from your briefing or fly on the wall will be a low conviction trade, because everybody in the world saw it and everybody had a chance to react to it in the pre-market. That's why they're low conviction trades. Then I'll hear a Gilead, I'll look at Gilead, I'll know the person who's sending the Gilead, I'll know the news desk which are talking about the Gilead, and they'll get my technical blessing on the Gilead. And then that's when I'm going in heavier. So yeah, many people talk about tier systems and whatnot. And I tell people this, don't worry about tier systems. It's irrelevant. Worry about being right more times than you're wrong. Are you the trader who's going to go back and look at their losing day and mark off where they went wrong? Most traders can't do that. Most traders on a losing day, they want to shut down their system. They want to crawl up in a fetal position on their bed. They sometimes get angry at their loved ones, their neighbors, their friends, their family. They're in a bad mood. And they don't even want to wake up in the morning in terms of getting up out of their bed and going to their trading software and trying to do it all over again. Sound familiar, anyone? So for me, like I said, it doesn't matter what technical analysis you do. Just make sure you're right more often than you're wrong, and you're fine. When I say that to people, a lot of people selling services get, they get a weird feeling from me because they feel threatened. They feel their position threatened as a trader, because most of the broadcasters you see are not making money. Most of them aren't traders, by the way. They're ex-traders who can't make money in this market anymore, so they're using their experience to sell you a chat room service. That is, not everyone, but the majority of broadcasters out there. And those are the broadcasters who get thrown off when I tell people, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. Are you right 70% of the time? So to combat that, you'll have the broadcaster who just keeps spitting out names nonstop. This is forming this. This is forming that. That's an inside candle. That's day highs. That's day lows. That has volume. And they'll just spit out thousands of pieces of information. And then at the end of the day, they'll go back and they'll say, hey, we were talking about this one and this one and this one, yet they didn't trade anything that day, and they were just hoping that you got involved somehow and figured out which one of their calls was good and which one was bad. Does that sound familiar? So when it comes to and I respect Red Dog as a trader, and I respect what he does completely, Josh. But when it comes to scaling out of trades, what I like to do is I like to be right. So for me, when I buy a stock, I'll usually sell 70, 75, 80%, sometimes 100%, depending. And then when I'm on the house's money, I'm very comfortable writing a small piece. I'm very comfortable writing 20% of my position. I could do that all day when I'm on the house's money. So for me, scaling out should be locking in profits and deciding if you want to sell it all or hold a little. Now there are moves like Gilead where I did sell most of my position on a pop. And if I held stubbornly, I would have I could have made over $1 million if I held it stubbornly up until the very end. Not a million, but a little over 700,000. If I took more, it could have been more, but whatever. And off a $700,000 potential over 3 days, maybe I'll make 40,000, like a very modest number. So remember that. Remember that it's, scaling out doesn't matter when you're making money. It doesn't matter. If you're right 70% of the time, where you touch a stock and 70% of the time it's going in your favor, it really doesn't matter if you were stubborn once, or pieced out early once, or pieced out later another time. It's a completely irrelevant factor within trading, yet it garners so much attention because traders think knowing where to sell is just as important as knowing where to buy. And that is the exact opposite of the truth. There is nothing more important than knowing where to buy. Nothing. If I buy 1,000 shares of a stock at $100 and it goes to $100.20, then $100.30, $100.80, $102, $105, $110, and then all the way back down to $95 down money, it doesn't really matter where you sold. It doesn't really matter if you sold at $100. It doesn't matter if you made 20 cents on a 5-point move, a 10-point move. It doesn't matter. And people are like, of course it matters. I could have made, so much more money. When you're swinging things and you're good at swinging, sure, God bless you, do that. But when you're just looking to become consistent and make money, I tell every trader it's irrelevant where you sold. Were you up money? Yeah, good, nice trade. Move on, next. You don't need to get married to a position. You don't need to sit there and wonder what coulda, shoulda, woulda been. That would have been a life-changing trade for me. Make 700,000, make $1 million. Wow, that would have been huge for me off a trade. But I didn't do it. So I find that to be irrelevant. Tier systems are only relevant when you know how to properly judge your conviction, which most traders don't. Appreciate that, Kathy. Appreciate the heads up. Yeah, the chime, and again, you guys are more than welcome to chime at me. There are people talking in the room still. You have to remember, at the end of the day, I'm a trader. I'm a trader before I'm a broadcaster. And I try to bring value with the timing of my entries. Let's see. Hi, D2. Yeah, I trade, you wouldn't know it from listening to me, D2, but the majority of I usually trade around 3 or 4 million option contracts a year, which is a shit ton for what I do. Generally, on average. So that gives you an idea. I'm with you too. I trade mostly options because options are the best risk reward. And anyone who says options are more risky than stock don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, that's true, Reinald. With a lot of small caps. It's true, Chris. A lot of these longer term people and boring, slow moving stocks, they sell calls versus their open positions to collect premium. Very common strategy. Oh, no need to be sorry, but I appreciate that courtesy, Teresa. Very glad you're here too. Ren might be the next Clayton Williams. Resolute Energy. I mean, wow. Stock has had some move. That'll be interesting to watch, Lauren. Oh, my pleasure, Josh. Oh, thank you, Kathy. Do I think I could restart the software? I'll work on it tonight after this broadcast is over, which will be over shortly, and I'll try to fix that, Peter. Absolutely. Do I buy options for swings, for swing longs? Generally, Barbara. So, for example, I'm in a bleeding UPS position. I have around $3,000 approximately worth of the 111 calls that I bought last Friday, and I spent $3,000 on them, and they're going to expire worthless. Does it bother me one bit? No, because I made about $17,000 or $20,000 on UPS last Friday. So when I take 10, 15, 20% of my position and I say, okay, I'm going to buy options, and the worst thing this is going to do is go to zero. But I know how much money I'm going to lose ahead of time. So I'll take 15, 20% of the risk of the money I already made on a swing. That way I will never lose. It's just putting yourself in that positive mentality where you're always winning. And that's how I personally accomplish it. So, okay. Well, thank you again to the older members of this room who I thought my broadcast pretty much sucked in the past 3 days because I had to get everybody acclimated and explain everything that I do that you guys already know. So thank you for bearing with me with that. And thank you to the newer members of this room who are here to make money, here to learn from traders who are making money, and will have a positive perspective. I would love at the end of the month to have you guys write a feedback for how I treat you in the month of July. June's over. June's over tomorrow. Let's see how I treat you for the month of July. I hope you guys will have a good feeling and a confident feeling you guys have found a permanent home. So I hope you guys enjoyed the NEWSBEAT nightly broadcast. Happy trading, make money. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the NEWSBEAT live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening. Wait, did Kathy just say I don't drink? Kathy! No, 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 Kathy. I like my drink. Oh well, she's gone. Have a good night.